Right. So I'm super pumped. I've been talking about this for a little while now about getting back into real estate investing and showing all of the stuff that I've learned over the last, man, I don't even know how many years it was. I started back in 2003 in flipping houses, flipped nearly 1,000 homes, rehabbing, wholesaling, all that kind of stuff. Was out of the business for a little bit for focusing on the software, on real estate investor websites through Lead Propeller and building out Flip Pilot, which is an awesome piece of software we've built to manage leads for real estate investors. It's been really cool. But I decided to get back into house buying because I really want to. I just love the business so much. I want to get back into setting a goal of buying houses for long-term investment, real estate, some rentals and stuff like that. And I need accountability. And so I'm setting this up to help people that are getting into this business and struggling maybe with getting that first deal, right? That can be so tricky of moving past the fear that we have and doing something new, moving out of our comfort zone and setting it up for success, setting ourselves up for success to be able to really make a go of this business. And so I want to show the whole process that I'm going through with all of the knowledge that I have of the business and just show you kind of like my thinking and how I'm breaking it down and getting into it and building this out and what I'm doing. So I'm going to be posting, weekly, all this stuff that I'm doing, what's happening in the business, why I'm doing it, what goal I'm trying to reach, and how I'm going to meet those goals. So it's super fun, super excited about it. A lot of you have already expressed interest in following along on the blog on Flipping Junkie and all that kind of stuff. So very cool. I really do appreciate that. It's cool to know that people are excited to follow along. And I hope that you take this also as a challenge to actually take action and do something for yourself to be able to get in this business and see what I'm doing and not just watch and take some notes, but actually do some things, right? Make a goal, reverse engineer it like I'm going to show you today. I'm going to show you what I'm doing to my goal that I've set and how I've reverse engineered it to know what I need to do this quarter and then this week even, my to-dos, how I'm tracking all that stuff, what KPIs I'm tracking. I'm going to share all that right now. It's going to be really cool. We're going to do some screen share and all that kind of stuff. But if you're new and you're trying to get that first deal, you've maybe done some marketing, all that kind of stuff, this is perfect for you to follow along with. If you've been in the business a little while, maybe you've done some deals, but you're shooting for deal consistency, this is also going to be cool because I will be showing a lot of the things I've learned about how to set up and track what we're doing in our business to make sure that what we're doing is moving us towards our goal. And if your goal is deal consistency, a lot of what I'm going to be sharing is going to be key for that. Just being able to get those consistent deals, so that if your goal is to go full time, that's going to be possible, right? Because that's necessary. That's the biggest thing and the biggest reason why I spent 3 years part-time in this business before I went full time was because I was just, scared that I wasn't going to be able to get that deal consistency. I was just worried that, feast and famine was going to happen. The deals were going to dry up and I'd have to go get a job again or something like that. So learned a lot over the years about how to manage that and how to get to where everything's just flowing and it's not just trying to bring a bunch of leads into the business. We're just really making sure our business is optimized. So let's just go ahead and jump in. I've got some stuff here to share with you. So I'm going to go ahead and share the screen. Let me do that real quick. All right. So I hope you guys can see that. Let me make sure the screen here. All right, cool. All right. So Flipping Junkie, follow along. I don't know. I just came up with that name. Now, I've kind of done this before with Flipping Houses Exposed. If you've seen that book before or my blog post, I showed for 34 weeks everything I did in the business, all the marketing, all the leads I generated, all that stuff. And at first I was like, well, this will be Flipping Houses Exposed 2.0, but that was kind of lame. So just spur of the moment, I figured follow along. I like that because it's not how to. I mean, it kind of is, but it's more about watch over my shoulder, watch what I do. And in doing that, I have fun because I'm not just, knocking out all these how-tos. I'm really just running my business and then let you watch and follow along. So follow along as I show what I'm doing to get back into real estate investing. If you want to find out more about what the whole backstory, just go to flippingjunkie.com/follow along. And I did a podcast episode, a blog post about all that stuff. So this all starts with the goal. If you don't know where you're headed, how are you going to know if you're getting there, you're in the right direction, any of that stuff? You have to start with the goal in mind. Whatever that goal is, right? It needs to be measurable, attainable, and with a definite timeline, right? So it's something that you have, concrete definition of where you're going, right? And so what I'm doing this time around, my goal by the end of 2021 is to have $11,000 a month in revenue from rental properties. So I'm going to be marketing and focus my business on finding these rental properties that I want for my business that makes sense for me. And this number is not going to include debt service. So I'm not looking for that much in cash flow. I'm looking just in that much in revenue. And I'll speak a little bit more later on about what I'm doing to figure out whether I'm going to buy one of those rentals or not. My strategy for paying the debt down as fast as possible so that then all of that is cash flow eventually very soon. And I'll show you some of that too. But the goal is just to get that much in rent per month by the end of 2021, okay? So that's my goal that I'm shooting for. So reverse engineering that, the average rent per unit likely is going to be about $1,000 per month. I'm in San Antonio, Texas. A lot of properties that we can buy for a reasonable amount, under $100,000, all in, including fix up, will rent for anywhere from $1,000 to $1,500 a month. Sometimes a little bit less for some of the cheaper ones. And right now, that's where I'm starting. I'm just going to say, I'm just putting a number out there of average rent roughly about $1,000 per month. We're never going to get exact on all this stuff, so don't go crazy trying to figure out exactly what you're going to have happen. Just get some kind of well-educated guess numbers for reverse engineering. So I'm going to pick $1,000 a month per house. And so how many deals do I need? I need 11 deals at $1,000 a month to hit my goal of $11,000 a month. So now I know I need 11 deals by the end of next year, being the end of 2021. And by the end of 2020, just to shrink that down and not have it such a long timeline, I'm going to say by the end of 2020, I'm going to shoot for 4 deals, okay, averaging about $1,000 a month, which would put me well on track to actually hit my 11 by the end of the next year. So, and then if I take it even shorter, which is something you should be doing, right? So that you're not just, well, I've got plenty of time, right? Set up this and go into smaller chunks. And now by the end of the quarter, by the end of September 31st, 2020, I just want to have 1 deal generating $1,000 a month in rent, okay? I might have debt, and I will probably have debt to pay that. So that's not going to be the cash flow. That's just how much rent. That's what I'm shooting for here. So how many leads do I think I'm going to have to get, motivated seller leads, to generate each of these deals? Now, this is just a wild guess for me at this point because I have been out of business for several years, a couple, maybe 2, it's probably been 3 years. So I don't know what my lead to deal conversion rate is going to be. I don't know what that ratio is for me at this point. I'm pretty rusty, right? Like I've just not done this. I've not met with a bunch of motivated sellers. I did happen to put 2 under contract a couple weeks ago, but one was a referral, sort of like a wholesale deal. So that wasn't, truly, getting motivated seller leads and having to put the deal together. But the other one I did put together, and it is, it might not work out because they might owe too much. Okay. So, but not to get too far in the weeds here. So starting from today though, 12-to-1 is going to be my guess for my lead to deal ratio for that 1 deal by the end of the quarter. So I need to generate 12 motivated seller leads to get my 1 deal by the end of the quarter. And so now I know what my biggest priority is. I've got to generate these 12 leads. I'm not focused on anything else. I'm not focused on all this other stuff I could get my mind into, trying to figure out what to learn and all that kind of stuff. Right now, my biggest priority is getting some leads in, getting those 12 leads to make that deal. And I'm setting it up to be attainable, right? If I started out of the gate saying, I want to get 1 out of every 5 leads to be a deal, it's probably not going to be likely. And I'd rather set something and beat it and just be enthusiastic about it than set myself up for failure. So what I did, knowing that generating those 12 motivated seller leads was the priority, was I did a brainstorm, right? A marketing brainstorm. I sat down and I didn't overthink it. I just wrote down all the things that I knew that I could do for generating these motivated seller leads, right? Like MLS prospecting, driving for dollars, bandit signs, billboards, even flyers, putting flyers at laundromats, leaving pens that say we buy houses, or, Danny buys houses in different places, like check cashing places and stuff like that. Probates, absentee owner direct mail, PPC, the lead generation website, just writing down all of that stuff as much as I could come up with. And then what I did was I narrowed down to like the 80-20, which means 20% of those are going to generate 80% of my success or leads. And I'm going to just pick those that I feel like are going to do that and focus on those, right? Because otherwise I'm back into analysis paralysis. I got a bunch of different things I could do to generate these leads, and I don't know which one to do, and it's just confusion, right? I don't know for sure which ones are going to generate the deal that I need this quarter or the next ones, both for the end of the year, but I got to start somewhere, right? And so what I've chosen was a motivated seller lead generation website, which if you followed the first 34 weeks years ago, vast majority of my leads came from that, okay? So I've got to do some work on mine to get it back ranking and all that kind of stuff. So this is a long-term play for me, but I definitely know it's 20% is going to produce 80% of the results. So I'm very interested in doing that, okay? I put motivate, but it's motivated seller. Anyway, so this is a long-term thing for me, but I'm going to start it from the get-go using Lead Propeller website. Obviously, I'm the founder of Lead Propeller, so that's what I'm going to use, okay? The other ones that I came up with are the driving for dollars. I just love doing that. And it's getting out in the streets. It's looking at these properties, seeing the neighborhood, seeing what's going on, finding contractors while I'm doing it, finding landlords while I'm doing it, and all that kind of, it's just a good way to know the areas. I'm also going to focus on probates. It's just a great way to get deals, and not the current situation, not dealing with anybody that's passed from COVID, of course. That's a touchy subject, but not focused on that. Focus on regular probates as those start coming back out. And then MLS prospecting. So I'm just keeping it simple. MLS prospecting is just going to be shooting for anything that's been listed for X amount of days, and I'll get into some of that strategy as well. And then making offers when it's likely to price change and do that kind of stuff. But being that I'm looking for these rental properties, I'm looking for a cheaper, lower end property, okay? So I have certain areas of town that I'm gonna farm. They're gonna be my farm area that I'm gonna focus on. I think real estate agents, realtors do this a lot. They have farm areas. This helps me to also break down San Antonio into, a chunk of places where I'm gonna focus so that I'm not overwhelmed, right? That I'm just not feeling like there's so much that I can do. I'm gonna focus in some areas so I can drive over there for dollars, look for vacant properties, all that kind of stuff. Probates will probably be all of San Antonio, but for properties on the lower end price-wise, right? Not super expensive estates and all that kind of stuff. So now I reverse engineered I told you my goal. We had 11 deals by the end of next year, right? To roughly get about $11,000 a month in revenue. And then I reverse engineered that down to this quarter, generating 12 motivated seller leads to get that one deal for this quarter. So how am I going to know how well I'm doing as I'm progressing through this? I've got to be tracking my KPIs. And my good friend Greg Dickerson, would always say, what's not measured cannot be managed. So you can't manage what's not measured. All right, so we have to be measuring. And this gets into, if you've done some deals and can't find consistency, this kind of stuff is really going to boost that for you. And if you're new, start by doing this right away, even though you might not have a whole lot of numbers to track. So these are the key performance indicators, measuring how well I'm doing, producing results toward my goal. I'm going to show you guys the ones I'm going to be measuring. All right, so let's switch that over. This is a cool piece of software that I've been using. If you have been following the podcasting a long time, I don't know if you can see this in the camera there, but it's Traction, by Gina Wickman. And this is an awesome book showing you how to set up your business and have those weekly goals and these meetings and the quarterly meetings that break everything down helps you kind of reverse engineer. Well, they put together some software called 90, and I'm going to go ahead and switch my screen share so you can see that. I've got mine open. Okay, where is it? Okay, so I hope that you can see this. So this is 90, and this is really cool. So I'm not affiliated with them at all, but it's 90.io, and it's basically a way to put in your key performance indicators that you're measuring, and then week over week, you can see how well you're doing, right? You're putting these numbers in every week to see what you're doing towards your goals. And let me just go through these really quick. If you're listening to this on the podcast, because this will be a podcast episode with just audio, you can check out on YouTube or Facebook. It should still be posted, this video that I'm doing. But I'm going to say each of these so you're going to know it. The KPIs I'm going to be tracking are houses bought, new motivated seller leads. So how many new motivated seller leads came in each week, how many prospecting leads I put in. So that's like MLS, right? Because that's not really a motivated seller lead towards my 12. That's just a prospecting. It's not a qualified lead. So any kind of lead that I find myself is not considered a motivated seller lead reaching out to me. So the 12 leads that I'm focusing on to get that deal are actual people reaching out to me saying, hey, I want to sell my house. Okay, but the prospecting leads are things that I'm finding on MLS, stuff like that. I'm also going to track how many appointments have been canceled by me, how many appointments canceled by the seller. That gets big as you start doing more and more leads and you have more and more appointments. If you start having cancellations, you got to look into why, right? Is a competitor beating you to those appointments and getting the deal put under contract? So they're canceling with you. You got to know this stuff so you can see that kind of thing happening. Offers made, I'm going to track, obviously, how many offers I make, how many offers were accepted, how many contracts were reseated. I don't know why I've done that twice. Appointments set, and some of these are out of order, I apologize. Projected profit. So once I put one under contract, I'm going to put the projected profit. Now that doesn't make a whole lot of sense in here because it's more of like the rent, that I'm going to be having. So to keep track to reach my goal, 11,000 per month. Houses sold. And that brings up another point I'll touch on in a second. So houses sold, if I sell any houses, I'll put it there. Actual profit, if I make an actual profit from selling, I'll put them there. Houses rented. Okay, so if I got the house and then I rented it, I'll put that number there for that week. Monthly rent added. So this is more of for what my goal is these monthly rents, okay? And then number of records added to follow-up. If you're not doing follow-up, forget it. You're not going to do as well as you will if you did the follow-up. I mean, it's just, you could double the number of deals that you're doing simply by making sure that you're following up. So I'm going to keep track of how many records I add to follow-up every week, right? That's important to me. And then the total number of records currently in follow-up from previous weeks, all that kind of stuff. I want to track that. So those are my KPIs. So what's the deal with the houses sold, projected profit, actual profit? Well, as I am doing marketing and generating these motivated seller leads, I'm not going to, all of those aren't going to make sense for rental properties, which is my main goal. So what am I going to do? I'm going to wholesale those if I can. Okay, so I'm going to make some quick profit from wholesaling, so from signing contracts if I can, these ones that don't make sense as a rental property for me, okay? So, a higher end home maybe or something where the rents are just not gonna be able to be high enough to make sense for how much I'm investing into it. Stuff like that, I'm gonna wholesale. So I'm gonna track those as well because that's gonna be a byproduct, a very good byproduct, which I'm gonna be super pumped about doing too, because who doesn't like those quick bursts of cash from wholesaling? I'm gonna track that stuff in my KPIs. Okay, the other cool thing that I like about 90, and I think it's like $12 a month, right? And if it's just you, it's just $12 a month for 90 to track this stuff. But it also gives you the VTO stuff, which is basically the stuff from Traction. Again, if you can see it in the video, their Traction book. My good friend Andy McFarland told me about that years ago and just been a game changer. It allows you to put in your vision for your company, which you need to be clear on, right? Because your goal is going to come from that. What are you trying to achieve with all of this? right? If you're not clear on that, that's the first place to start. Please do that. Find out what you're trying to achieve. That's your purpose, your cause, and your passion. If you can see that hopefully on the screen here. So I put for my purpose here is to not only create financial freedom and the lifestyle that it provides, but to experience it now by enjoying the journey to its attainment, okay? So I'm getting back into this for the fun of it. I'm not getting back into this to kill myself trying to make a bunch of money, okay? I enjoy the process and I want to enjoy and keep that in mind as I do all this stuff. If I find myself getting burned out, I'm going to slow it down, right? Because I want to live the lifestyle now. I don't want to kill myself and not have the time for my family and my friends and all that kind of stuff as I'm doing this. It's just not worth it at that point. So that's the purpose here. Create financial freedom, but do it in a way that is fun, right? And just loving it along the way. The happiest real estate investors I know, that's what they do. They don't try to be in 10 different markets and all this kind of stuff. They're just like loving the stuff, going to appointments themselves still, all that kind of stuff. That might not be for everybody, but the happiest ones I know tend to do that. So the niche is long-term real estate investments and wholesale deals in San Antonio, Texas, just to keep my focus, right? And then I have different things there. Some of my core values for this business is simple. It's about lifestyle. So I want to keep this simple. I'm not going to go nuts trying to get all complicated on things. It's buy low, right? Buy cheap. And then I can profit. I'll have a lot of different exit strategies possible to me if I do that. Focus. I'm going to stay focused on that vision of enjoying the process, building the long-term wealth. And then I love this one. Curiosity is my third core value. Now I put that in, and I think that has a lot to do with, you know, a lot of the spiritual stuff, the path that I've kind of been on and getting into Buddhism and stuff like that. It's been great with meditation. I'm going to share some of that stuff too as we go through these weeks. But curiosity is a big part of that. And rather than being rigid with what we expect to happen or needing a plan for everything, you know, when we don't really know what's going to go on, we can approach everything with curiosity. So that's saying, just like what I'm doing here, I don't know how all of this is going to unfold, but I'm looking forward to this journey to see what happens, right? That's the fun of it, right? To try to plan everything and say, it's got to happen this way. And then for it not to happen, that's how we get frustrated, we get burned out. But coming into it with curiosity, looking forward to what the heck is going to happen, I don't know, right? But that's the fun part. And so to keep that as like a focus there on the core value and just being curious. So that breeds innovation too. It helps us to find our way through what we're doing. So I just love that. So simple, focus, curiosity. And then, you know, this has you break down 10-year target, 3-year goal. But if I click over here in traction, I can see my 1-year one, which I moved all the way to the end of last year to do the $11,000 a month, recurring monthly rent with 11 rentals bought. And then at that 12-to-1 lead to deal ratio, that worked out to needing 132 leads, motivated seller leads by the end of next year to do that. And then it allowed me to break it down for 90 days. So you get that one deal, 12 leads generated. And then I'm tracking my KPIs under data each week. I'm going to put in those numbers and I'm going to see where I'm getting, right? So at first, there's not going to be a whole lot because offers made, unless I have an appointment, it's not going to be there, all that kind of stuff. And I probably won't be getting leads right away either. And this is a good thing to point out too. If you're new in this business, you typically have a lot of pushing to do to get that boulder to start moving, right? But then you build momentum and it starts just going, right? And it starts making its way down the hill. But what that looks like sometimes, depending on how much work you put into trying to generate those leads, is it can take time for anything to come in. And typically what we see is maybe like 90 days, what you're seeing is a result of the stuff you did 90 days before, okay? So what I'm seeing right now is a result of 90 days before. And so things start building up quickly. So don't give up if you're like a month in and you haven't generated a lead yet, okay? Because it just takes time and some of that stuff to catch up as long as you're taking action consistently and keep going. And so in saying that, as I'm doing this, I don't know. I could go 3-4 weeks with no leads, right? That just could happen. And I'm okay with that, right? I'm just going to know to keep going and keep pushing and putting more letters out for Drive for Dollars and doing skip tracing and calling people with vacant houses, all that kind of stuff. And just keep pushing through, right? Get that ball rolling. It's going to take some of that work and elbow grease. And I hope that you're willing to do it. And, that kind of helps to have that why again, right? What's your purpose in this? That way you can remember, okay, I do want that lifestyle and I'm not going to let any disappointment or anything stop me. I'm just going to keep going. Okay. And hopefully that's what you're going to see here too. Of course, I hope I have quick success, but we can at least hope that, right? And envision that to happen, and hopefully it will. So I'm going to switch back to the slides really quick. All right. So that's 90, right? And I hope that you do that. You can do that in a simple spreadsheet as well, obviously. I just like having that already set up for me, and it doesn't cost that much. So the question for you is, will you be following along? Yeah? I hope that you find this exciting. I do. I enjoy it, and a lot of people have already said that they're going to be. So I'm super thrilled about that. And, I hope that you join me too. If you're listening to this, or you're watching this, go ahead and you can follow along by subscribing to the podcast, Flipping Junkie Podcast. I also ask that you subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/flippingjunkie, and then join the Flipping Junkie group on Facebook. That's where, if you want accountability, join that group and then let us know, that community know who you are, where you are, what your goal is, and what you're doing each week. I mean, it's going to be awesome. I hope that at least a few people do that, because I think those are the people that are going to be making forward momentum much faster, because they're putting themselves out there as well, just like I'm doing. And so I challenge you to do that, right? And I hope you join me in that Facebook group, Flipping Junkie group. And then like the Flipping Junkie Facebook page at facebook.com/flippingjunkie, facebook.com/flippingjunkie, so that these Facebook Lives, that you'll know about those when they come up if you're interested. And hope you follow along. It's going to be fun. I don't know how long this is going to go for, but I envision it going for a really long time. Along the way, I'm going to be sharing some other things, not just what's happening, but as things come up in the week, if I face something that I struggled through, I'm going to share that, right? I'm going to share with you what I struggled through and how I overcame it, or what I had learned in the past that was helpful to help me overcome that. And I hope that you join the Facebook group as well, so that you can do the same thing. If you come across some hurdle, let us know, and we can all as a community help you get through that. I mean, that's the power of all of this. So let me know. If you're going to be following along, let me know in the comments. Let me know that you're going to be following along. Just say, hey, I'm going to be following along. I love this, whatever. Let me know. That'd be awesome to know. And then extra credit. Put your goal in there. If you know what the purpose is, put it in there, because something about telling other people about it really helps to help you manifest that, and bring that into your life, because it's really getting you concrete on what it is. If it's just something super fuzzy, spend some time with it and get that clear, so that you know exactly what you want, right? Because otherwise you're spinning your wheels, right? You have this hope to change things, but you got to get clear on what you're doing and why. And so that's extra credit. Let me know your goal. And if you're following along, just tell me you're following along. That's awesome as well in the comments. So hope you guys join me. I'm going to go ahead and end this here. Like I said, there'll be random Facebook Lives and stuff like that throughout the coming weeks and months, showing you all this different stuff. I'll probably work to get a consistent time for Facebook Lives where we'll review the week from before, like the things that I did. I'll probably try to get a consistent time for that, hopefully. But like I said, I'm just coming into all this with curiosity and figuring it out along the way. And that's part of the fun of it. So anyway, if you've been watching, thank you so much. Appreciate you watching. And yeah, we'll see you next time, all right? I'm gonna figure out how to turn this off. This is the first time I've done the Facebook Live from the Zoom thing. So let me try not to mess this up. I think I can just end this here. Okay. All right, guys. I think I figured it out. See you later.